Please welcome Chairman of the ICANN Board, Dengate Thrush.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Diramu, for that welcome to this fantastic country on behalf of the Gadigal and the Eora people. And welcome to you all to ICANN's 35th International Public Meeting. We've been thinking about what we've done in the last decade because the equivalent meeting 10 years ago in Berlin was where the first steps were taken towards the formation of the DNSO. But none of us that started on that path could really have imagined back then where we would get to. And now we have an ICANN community that's built an international body that shows the world how bottom-up, instead of top-down command and control, but how bottom-up inclusive process can drive a key shared global resource. And we've harnessed that collaborative spirit of the internet, where decisions are made by the community, not by the centre. Now, at that meeting, we will apply that process again as we continue to discuss the expansion of generic top-level domains. We've already had 2 rounds of domain name expansion, and we're getting close to the next enormous expansion, which will lift the ceiling on personal expression. We're building towards the introduction of possibly thousands of new characters, so people can have their name in what looks like their language on the internet. So the connections that come out of this room and across the globe in as many directions as there are people here wouldn't be possible if it were not for one thing. And it's the reason we're all here today, the single, globally interoperable internet, something that ICANN stands for. He became Premier of the state in September 2008. He has a commitment to the internet revolution, and it's a great pleasure to ask him to speak to us. So please join me in welcoming Premier Rees. Premier.
Thank you very much, Peter, and congratulations to the All Blacks. Terrific win over France at the weekend. Just in time to make them angry for when they play Australia. Well, welcome, delegates, to Sydney, welcome to New South Wales, and welcome to Australia. You are here as honoured guests and friends, and I hope you find yourselves at home in our beautiful harbourside city, and I hope the weather clears up for you. Well, ICANN may not be a household name, but what you do, as Peter just outlined, affects the whole planet. .com and its fellow domain names have become part of our daily lexicon. And life without the internet is simply unimaginable. And so I want to begin by thanking each and every one of you for your contribution to the digital revolution, the revolution that has swept through our homes, through our schools and through our workplaces over the last 2 decades or so. The internet really is a revolution in every sense of the word, because the internet doesn't belong to anyone, or to put it another way, it belongs to everyone. And that's where ICANN's role as a not-for-profit public benefit organisation is so important, and after 11 years clearly this model works and has been vindicated. Now I note that a major topic at this conference is new generic top-level domains, and my government is closely following this issue, including the possible registration of geographic and city names. And I note with interest that the Mayor of Paris is supporting a .Paris, and there are proposals for many others, .Berlin, .London and so on. Well, New South Wales has a strong interest in this issue, and because it represents a new and exciting way of being represented on the internet. My government would certainly welcome and support a .Sydney domain. On that note, I welcome you all to Sydney once again, and I wish you well in your deliberations. I reaffirm my government's support for ICANN, and I proudly declare your 35th International Public Meeting officially open. Thank you.
Mr. Premier, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule to share those thoughts with us today. So, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome ICANN's President and CEO, Dr. Paul Twomey, who will say a few words and introduce our next guest. Paul?
First, I'd like to say thank you very much to all of you here in attendance, and thank you for coming to Sydney. Moving along, I'd like to quickly introduce Senator the Honourable Stephen Conroy. Stephen is the Minister for Broadband, Communications and Digital Economy, and we welcome you here to speak.
Well, thank you, Paul. Everyone always says, who is responsible for this mess called the internet? And now we know. So I'm only joking to his parents. It is a great pleasure to be here for the 35th meeting of ICANN. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. On behalf of the Australian Government and the Prime Minister, I would also like to thank the organisers and sponsors of this important forum for returning to meet again in our country. It is a particular pleasure to extend a warm welcome to those of you who've travelled from overseas to be here this week. ICANN holds a key position at the heart of the internet. It plays a vital role helping manage the internet as we know it today and preparing to meet the evolving needs and requirements of users. Without effective management and the evolution of internet addressing and protocols, we risk limiting opportunities for improved trade, productivity and social participation. I'm pleased to say that Australia has been a long-time supporter and contributor to ICANN since its inception in 1998. Australians have played and continue to play a prominent role in the organisation's administration. The .au domain administration makes regular and important contributions to ICANN. The Australian Government has also been a key contributor to one of the essential elements of ICANN, the Governmental Advisory Committee. As usual, ICANN has set itself an ambitious and exciting agenda for its international meeting, and I look forward to hearing about the outcomes. Welcome once again to everyone from around the globe, and good luck with the discussions that take place this week. Thank you very much.
The agenda, broadly, we'll speak to is obviously the new GTLD program, the implementation of the IDN CCTLD fast track, the 2010 operating plan and budget, improving institutional confidence, and that's a very important topic that I want to speak to. New accountability mechanisms, which is part of that. Enhancing security, stability and resiliency. The interim solution to DNSSEC. The joint supporting organisation and advisory committee meeting. Some updates from IANA. The public participation update on some really fantastic work being done to continue to improve public participation in ICANN and in this meeting. Some update on contractual compliance, some policy development, an opportunity to speak and introduce you to two of our new board members.